IDW Sonic Comic Issue 42. We started with Jewel saying she'll bring everyone up to speed. I feel like she's talking to the audience, and I don't want her to do that. She's in a Skype call with the Chaotix, and she says that Tails joins us from his workshop while he's welding, and actually wearing a blue apron. So much for, the Sega characters can't change their designs regardless of context. So that's nice to see for a change. He also has what looks like a soda in front of him, but it seems to say Star Fox on it. But it's cut off, and it's green and white. So he got something from Starbucks. But it's not a coffee cup, it's more like a soda or a milkshake cup. It's too vague about what it is, so it just barely stops short of telling me what Tails likes to drink, finally. Which would have tried to make it more relatable. I'm sure the plot itself is too boring and already fully spelled out last issue anyways. So no wonder I find this more interesting than the plot. The heroes are of course planning to ambush the Zeddy, and Sonic's humanized because it's shown that he likes to drink hot chocolate and he's got a pillow and blanket. It's nice of Vector to call Tails little buddy. Tails reveals that he was smart enough to workshop some options because he predicted that he'd have to deal with the Zeddy eventually. So he built the Zeddy Zapper by reverse engineering Zavok's Chaos Energy Siphon. He had a Chaos Siphon? That's a Ken Pender's concept. But it's got a different name. And if that's the name of the thing that powered the Zeddy up, that's more like a reverse of when a siphon device was used on Green Knuckles. But when the Chaos Siphon was first made, it was designed to drain power from emeralds, and it happened to power someone up. Same exact concept. Zavok could use it on himself too. But it was introduced so casually here that it came out of complete nowhere when Zavok powered up with it. Well, on Archie, there was an entire scene devoted to it being shown off and rejected by a judge. I like that Tails has his two-tail symbol on the Zapper. I like that he came up with an idea that the Zeddy didn't anticipate. It'll turn the Zeddy's own electromagnetic powers against them, harmlessly disabling them for capture and transport. Will that be allowed to work, or will it not because incompetent heroes? Because their ultimate destination was already spelled out to me, so they can't go there if they're zapped first. But why can't they succeed? Wouldn't it be as easy as a hero connecting the Zapper to a Zeddy after punching him out? But they all like to stay together. Tails says that the Zeddy will be sent to the Zeddy launcher, which will automatically return them to the Lost Hex where they won't be able to bother anyone. Yeah, if he's lucky. I guess they needed Starline to take them to Mobius, so they can't go back to it themselves. If he was really smart, he'd secretly have it programmed to blow them up once they get back there. But no, he's soft as a marshmallow. Jewel is smart enough to say that if the Zeddy removed their zappers in mid-flight, they might be able to take control of the rocket. How could they take control of an automatically moving rocket? Wouldn't they be trapped inside it? Or if they got themselves out of it, it'd be by smashing up part of it. And then wouldn't it become too damaged to reach the Lost Hex and crash and kill them? I guess they wouldn't have to get themselves out of it to take control of it. Is this clumsy foreshadowing to them actually taking control of the rocket in a epic climax that won't really matter because they'll have to lose anyways? And so there's no point even writing it? Tails says he's built safeguards against all of that. Maybe that's why I didn't think that would be a climax at first. Sonic trusts Tails and thinks that everyone wants to forget the metal virus was even a thing, like it was all a bad dream. Gee, I wish Flynn agreed with that. Instead of referencing it constantly in the comic. It's hard to tell because, of course, in-universe, all the characters in the story would have that opinion. So I can't tell if that's an apology or not. Meanwhile, Starline is smart enough to figure out that Belle was made by Mr. Tinker on his own, and appreciates that she's so unique, in a place called I don't care enough to remember what place it was, so the name means nothing to me. He wants to study Eggman's designs, but they're apparently stashed in Restoration HQ, which he can't access. Who cares? He'll never succeed in taking over the world or killing the heroes. Anything he does has to be temporary. The same can be said of Eggman. I find him more interesting though. I mean, he hypnotized Rouge. It sure is magical of him to have yellow corneas in his eyes. Good thing he has yellow glasses and a red outfit to help distract from that. He thinks that while his Tricore can be powerful enough to storm the Restoration HQ, that's Eggman style and he's trying to be better. I wish that wasn't the end of his explanation. He thinks to himself that his hypnotic tools only got him into the prison because he wasn't known to security. well, he'd be identified on sight here. Except, couldn't he use his hypnotic tools against the security, even if they did know him? So it wouldn't matter? What a dumb line. So he's the one that freed Zavik? Why? He doesn't even like Zavik. And Zavik isn't even helping him. He goes into a place with a wrench and thinks that he's seen people enter the shed but never leave, and wonders if there's a trap door. Because he was impressively smart enough to wonder this, he immediately figures out how to enter the place the same way Tails could. We should have seen him try a whole bunch of different things first, instead of immediately succeeding. Like, that's really lucky of him. But I could have found it believable if he took a while to do it. Because if you try everything, you will eventually get there. Meanwhile, in front of Restoration HQ's main entrance, someone screams at a flaming truck showing up and crashing, and the Zeddies show up and enter the building, and already start trying to tear it all down. I'm impressed by the surprisingly fast pacing. So the Zeddies aren't going to attack any of the towns that the heroes are waiting for them at. They're already going straight to their base. Salmom's character is taking advantage of because he wants to see everything from an ice cream stand, which makes more sense than it being destroyed all the time like in Sonic Boom. Predictably, the soldiers fail to stop the Zeddy with their devices so easily because they aren't main characters and the plot's just started. So Xena jumps to avoid the wind and kicks them with both feet at once, which is impressive. At least they tried. As if Xena couldn't be made any more unlikable after Lost World, she somehow thinks people being compassionate to each other is gross. Why does Zeke immediately assume the best in the people of this planet, when the Zeddy really hate the people of this planet and want to ruin the place? Which you'd think would be because of a past grudge against it because their ancestors were mistreated by its people. That'd be common sense to assume. How would Zeke know the people of this planet so well? Did he look it up on the internet? The internet wouldn't give him such a positive, idealistic opinion of them. Zavik decides to go to the heart of the organization as Starline sees him hiding, and he thinks Serenity now, which reminded me of Seinfeld out of nowhere, so that took me out of it. Jules able to warn the Chaotix that the Deadly Six are here, and it's satisfying to see Vector admit that the heroes were baited like chumps. Tails says he's scrambling with the Zeddy Zappers here, and will likely get there first, and he says he'll go in with Sonic, who promptly runs off, I guess to try to reunite with him. Why is Belle in the same room as an engineer when he kicked her out permanently earlier? I guess he magically forgave her. The only reason she's here is because of a continuity error caused by the writer deliberately ignoring what the previous writer wrote. Zalmom says this place sucks with no control room and food, and then Starline goes up to him and brainwashes him, telling Zalmom that he wants to leave and tell the others that this room can be ignored. It makes sense that it works so easily, because Zalmom just said he hated this room. It's nice of the engineer to appreciate Starline for saving them. Starline wants Belle handed over, when he used to want Tails as a sidekick, so at least he knows when to quit. And the engineer refuses and says that he looks after his own, even after she dumped a whole oil pan in his face. Again with the made-up clumsiness. Where'd that come from? All of a sudden this guy is sympathetic now when I thought he got fed up with her. So much for her working in Tails' workshop where she clearly did a better job and was safer. It's good that she had apologized to him. She asked Starline what he wants with her, and he's impressed that she's self-actualizing, which I can only guess means that he's complimenting her intelligence for asking a question. He asks if she goes by a model number, and she doesn't. Why did he think she was at that point? He says that's splendid because she's left quite an impression on him. Out of nowhere, apparently the sample he got from the chateau wasn't from Tails, but from Bellable people. Never mind the fact that he clearly grabbed Tails' fur, and they made a point of showing that. And the only contact he made with Belle was that she kicked his beak with her foot. Suddenly the writer spontaneously changed his mind. No, God forbid he want to make a robot Tails. He thinks Belle would be pivotal to completing his current projects. Why doesn't he just brainwash her? Why is he wasting time? I'm pretty sure she'd be weak-willed enough to be hypnotized. She's a worrywart. He says that he's sure she's aware of how much he treasures Eggman's works, and says that he's going to handle her with the utmost respect. Well, he did handle Metal Sonic with the utmost respect. It'd be nice of him to actually mean that. If Belle was with Tails' workshop, she'd never be in this situation. What dumb contrivance. Starline kicks the engineer and suddenly reveals that he's poisoned him, and tells Belle that if they leave together right now, he'll be too busy to finish him off. So where did he get that toxin? A plant? It better be explained in the bad guy's issues, because it's a miracle he'd be able to get anything as a wanted criminal. If he doesn't have a reason to have this, it kind of feels like a diabolic ex machina. I guess he was always hidden from people's view. He attacked the chateau, so now he's wanted. I guess not, because everyone assumed he got hit by the avalanche. She selflessly agrees to go with him and takes his hand. And she's nice enough to apologize, and he's polite enough to call her Miss Belle. Hopefully he's not holding her arm too hard. They end up in an out-of-service elevator. Belle guesses that the Zeddy cut the power line, and wastes time talking in the hopes of being left alone somehow. He presses a button so that he can wall jump a whole bunch with her. Zalmon wants to make a dent in a metal thing, and Zavok says it's a tomb with a bunch of people in it and he wants to fix that. And then Sonic shows up and spin dashes at all of the Zeddy, bouncing off them one by one. The story ends with them threatening each other instead of Sonic just immediately going to do that again. Gee, I wonder if the heroes are destined to win. Realistically, he just kept doing that attack over and over again and effortlessly beat them. So I'm guessing the fight scene after this will be contrived and have him screw up and be stupid in order to make it not just that and really quick. He moves at Sonic speed! Why would they be fast enough that he couldn't do that? This is You by Ian Flynn, which is about Belle being kidnapped by Starline, which she could have easily not been, because I thought she got fired by that engineer for inexplicable clumsiness. So she should have been in Tails' workshop with someone she actually befriended after spending a whole arc with. Another way he deliberately ignored the previous writer's writing is that he, for some reason, has Belle be the one that Starline got a sample from, when he literally never laid hands on her. It's really distracting when the entire crux of the drama lays on continuity errors. But it did make sense that Starline was so competent with the convenient magical artifacts and toxins he managed to get his hands on. And the Deadly Six cut to the chase and immediately go attack the Restoration base. But eventually Sonic smacks all of them with a spin dash, which realistically should just be done over and over again to effortlessly win. I don't care about these guys. I'd rather not see a fight scene with them at all than see things somehow not turn out that way because Sonic's now an idiot. Sonic's too overpowered a character for a fight scene with him and them to... It should have been people besides Sonic fighting them. I was impressed that Tails built some zappers to disable the Zeddy, but I'd say Starline kidnapping Belle was the only engaging and memorable part. Sure, the Zeddy invading the base was tense, but why should I care? They're all gonna be fine.